Mid-October, the height of midterm season, and Chloe was swamped. A psych major, she found that the bulk of her tests were multiple choice based on textbook readings, and that class attendance was not worth her while. She spent around 10 hours a day in McMaster University's student center, at the third-floor tables that overlooked the atrium below. On her breaks, she would find herself people-watching, observing other students, rushing to their classes and coalescing at tables. It was a Tuesday, early in the week, when the center was its busiest. She had been there all day, and it was now 6 p.m. Chloe forced her eyes away from her pastime and back to her textbook. She had a goal of 10 chapters that day for her Thursday exam, and had only 2 remaining. She flipped open to a page she had marked with a blue sticky note and, before reading, glanced back down to the atrium. A guy sitting alone at a table under one of the fake trees was craning his neck to look up at her through the branches. She must have noticed his gaze in her peripheral vision. He did not look away when she caught his glance, nor did he smile. After another millisecond, Chloe looked away, read the title of the book chapter, then glanced back down to where the guy sat. He was now looking at his laptop. Chloe was shy, and was naturally pleased to have the tension of another person's stare broken. The reading was slow for the first 10 minutes, but she found her groove and lost track of time. When she finished the chapter, about an hour had passed. A nice short one, she thought to herself, as once again she glanced back down to the atrium. The guy was gone, and she felt a mix of disappointment and relief. But as her eyes continued to explore her surroundings, she saw him, through about 6 panes of glass, sitting at the furthest table from her on the same floor. He had his laptop open in front of him, but he appeared to be staring right at her. If her eyes could be believed, that is. She was quite nearsighted. Even with her poor eyesight, Chloe felt that something about the look he was giving her was off. She originally had thought it to be a look of romantic interest, but why wasn't he smiling? Almost as if to prove her wrong, a crooked smile suddenly appeared on his face. She could tell, even from here, that it was forced. Chloe knew she needed to leave the situation in order to focus on studying, regardless of this guy's intentions. She quickly gathered her things and descended 1 floor on the staircase over her shoulder to a lounge area with comfy chairs outside the club meeting space. Her last chapter was unfortunately long, and when she finally looked up from the last page, the time was 9:30 and the sun had long since set. The lounge was dying down with the last group meetings wrapping up and packing it in for the night. Chloe was looking forward to a good soak in the tub when she got home and some delicious soup she made the night before. She collected her things once again, turned the corner out of the lounge and entered the staircase. Chloe's heart sank the moment the door opened and she saw the guy from earlier was halfway down the flight of stairs from the 3rd floor, making what she could now confirm to be an incredibly fake smile in her direction. She ducked to break eye contact once again, and made very careful, quick steps over to her flight of stairs to get ahead of the guy. As she descended to the 1st floor, she carefully listened to the sounds of the footsteps behind her. She felt like they had increased in pace to keep up with her own down the stairs, but she couldn't be sure. There were still people around, but they all seemed tired and possibly disinterested in any ordeal that might befall her. She picked up her pace even faster as she reached the atrium and began crossing it to the south doors. Her house was a 30-minute walk, and she could still hear the guy behind her. In a moment of panic, Chloe entered a girls' washroom to think for a minute. She really didn't like the idea of going home alone, and decided to bear whatever awkwardness there would be in going back upstairs to use the Safe Walk program. Student run, the program arranged for a pair of volunteers to accompany her home. Chloe left the bathroom, looking at the ground, not wanting to make immediate eye contact with whoever might be waiting for her outside the door. There was no one. At least, not immediately. But Chloe knew she had made the right decision to use Safe Walk when she saw the guy talking to another while sitting at a table in the middle of the student center. The pair appeared to be looking around. She almost ran up the stairs into the Safe Walk office. "Hey," the girl behind the desk smiled. Hey. I'm Chloe. I haven't used this before, but I'd like to be accompanied home." "Yeah, that's no problem at all. Where are you going tonight?" My house," I don't remember the number, but it's on Delbrook Court at the end of Stroud. I know that's kind of far. I hope that's okay. Haha, no. Of course that's okay. That's what we're here for, the girl retorted cheerfully. Tyler, Annika, you guys want to take this one? A couple of friendly-looking faces in the corner of the room looked from the girl to Chloe. Yeah, absolutely, Tyler piped up. He seemed like a very confident, charismatic guy. Good-looking, too. Chloe almost forgot about why she had come and wished that Annika wasn't accompanying them also. Are you ready to leave, Chloe? Annika asked. Yeah, she replied softly, and the three set off, to and then down the stairs. So what do you study, Chloe? Tyler asked with another confident smile. Psychology? Chloe replied. Oh, cool. How are midterms going so far? Chloe joked, gritting her teeth and making a face. I feel that. As they walked through the student center, Chloe noticed out of the corner of her eye that the guy and his friend appeared to be wrapping it up, but she didn't want to fully turn her head. She was safe now anyway. The trio were through the doors in no time and into the fresh, beautiful night air. Hey, look at this, Tyler said. Chloe looked at Tyler's watch, which he was exposing, and then up to his face to see that he was looking at Annika. Oh, okay, he's not talking to me. Chloe silently corrected herself in her head. The watch was a Fitbit or something. One of those that took metrics of certain aspects of your behavior. The chatter between Tyler and Annika continued until the trio was on the precipice of leaving the university grounds. Chloe turned to look behind her quickly, not wanting to linger or make Tyler and Annika suspect that there was a specific reason she had requested their accompaniment. She couldn't be 100% sure, but she didn't believe she was still being followed. It made sense. Why would he even try with two people by her side? The next 10 minutes of the walk were uneventful. There was occasional chit-chat between Tyler and Annika, and between either of them and Chloe. Once their little expedition had crossed Main Street and they made it to Stroud, the group had become quiet for a little while. Chloe noticed out of the corner of her eye that Annika had her phone open. It had been on for a while, in fact. Tyler chirped up again, addressing her. Hey Chloe, do you have roommates? Yeah, 5 of them. Oh damn, that's a lot. Is it noisy? No, we pretty much all keep to ourselves. Oh, fair enough. Do you play any sports? He plowed on into more small talk. Chloe noticed that Annika's arm was holding her phone behind Chloe's head, and Tyler was looking at it. It seemed somewhat rude of her not to include their walking companion, but Chloe didn't really care. The girl probably liked Tyler and was being a bit possessive. I played volleyball in high school, but I haven't done any sports since I got here, Chloe finally replied. Aha, so maybe you got a little bit out of shape since then, eh? Tyler laughed. Chloe was taken aback, thinking it at first to be akin to being called fat, but Tyler seemed too sincere for that. Chloe tried to smile, but it probably came out half-cocked. She turned her head almost instinctively at this point to look out behind her and saw the silhouette that she was sure was the guy from the student center, about 2 blocks down towards Main Street. His form disappeared under the shadow of a tree almost as quickly as she had seen him. It was far, but she knew it was him. A little flame of panic grew inside her once again. Her breathing shallowed. Her pace quickened. Tyler and Annika were quick to catch on. Hey, where are you going? Is everything okay? Tyler asked, doing a slight jog to catch up with her before matching her pace. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just cold, Chloe lied, not wanting to seem paranoid. There was a turn in the road, with a park coming up at the end of Stroud where Delbrook began, and she hoped to get around that corner with lots of time so that the guy would not see what house she went into. Chloe shuddered as she imagined waking up in the middle of the night to see this guy in the bushes outside her house, or to see his twisted smile pressed up against her window pane. Annika had dropped off from the 2 of them, but kept up a few feet behind, staring at her phone. Oh, really? I'm sweating, Tyler huffed. Well, we're almost there, don't worry. Wouldn't want to mess up that pretty hair, haha, Tyler said, running his fingers awkwardly through Chloe's hair. Chloe was too focused on avoiding the stalker in the shadows behind them to notice or comment on Tyler's odd behavior. The trio reached the park and swung around it. Chloe took one last glance up at the road. Her stalker could not be seen around the corner. Perfect. Annika, who still walked about a meter behind, alerted by Chloe's head turn, turned as well to gaze upon the same empty street. "Ty, this is it. We're here," Annika gasped urgently. Before Chloe knew it was happening, a large gloved hand was covering her mouth, and another arm was tightly wrapped around her torso. Chloe moved to run forward, but was instead yanked back into the side, off the sidewalk, and into the dark brush of the park. Someone was screaming or laughing in a harsh, shrill voice, but Chloe still hadn't come to her senses and was now experiencing a sharp pain in her side from the force. Thorns from the bushes tore at her abdomen and legs, and eventually she realized her heels were dragging on the gravel. She had been trying to scream, but the gloved hand was forming a tight seal. The road was becoming further and further away, and Annika was laughing and jeering. "You stupid hoe!" Annika began kicking Chloe's limp legs, and Chloe tried kicking at her in return. Her hands grasped the hand on her mouth, and with all her might she pulled at it. The thumb came away just enough for Chloe to open her mouth. She bit Tyler's hand as hard as she could. There was a deep bellow, and Tyler's grip released. The two of them fell, him on the ground, and her into his lap. Chloe knew she had no time to waste as she scrambled to get back onto her feet. A splitting pain hit her gut, and she fell back, face first into the gravel. A second pain struck as Annika's toe kicked her again, this time striking the sternum and winding her. "Help!" Chloe gasped as the air was still escaping her. "You're not going anywhere, you little bitch," Annika growled in her ear. A final kick to the jaw was enough to sedate Chloe, and Tyler got back on his feet and resumed pulling her, by her hair this time, and towards the small forest. All she could do was moan. Once she was a few meters into the wood, Tyler flipped her. His breathing had become extremely heavy, but he still hadn't said a word. He held her in a full Nelson while Annika unbuttoned and stripped Chloe of her pants. Then the couple switched places. Annika sat on Chloe's chest, choking her and slapping her in the face while Tyler fiddled with his belt behind her. There was a crunching sound, barely audible at first, but growing progressively louder. A hollow thud sounded moments before Chloe felt Tyler's full weight land on her left leg. Annika whirled around as a thick tree branch struck her skull and she collapsed to Chloe's right. The mortified face of the guy from the student center peered down at hers. "Are you okay?" he asked, alarmed. "I'm calling the police, but we've got to go." He helped her up, and Chloe stepped over the unconscious couple. Without a thought in her head, she stared at the back of her stalker, who was now panicking into the phone on her behalf. Hey guys, thanks for listening. That was actually a story that I wrote for a school competition last year. And just as a little disclaimer, this is a work of fiction, and it's not what I think the school gets up to or involves itself with. I just thought it would be a neat little twist to have the people who are supposed to protect her from creeps being the creeps themselves. Stay tuned next Thursday when a brand new video comes out, and come to my live show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday night when I'll be doing Nightmare Theater, an open book club for nightmares. Send your nightmares to theforgottengrove@gmail.com. Until next time, embrace the beautiful dark.